Today on the news, we're going to talk about the chip shortage, where the market is headed, and finally, Porsche opening a boutique right here in the news. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. It has been an awesome time. We're here with the news today. I am your host, VIPPrimo, and like I said, this was one for the record books. I think I had probably most food I've ever eaten, and it was an enjoyable time with actually really good weather. The cold didn't move in for us until after everything blew over. But yeah, it was a great time. I hope everybody had the same kind of time. Unfortunately, with this cold snap that's coming in, it really has affected how car shows and car meets are going on. So I'm starting to see people really now they're determining that they want to pack their vehicles up. You guys out there on the West Coast and southern areas that have good weather all the time, I want to congratulate you on being able to do something awesome, because that's something that we see cold snaps up here and everybody's locking everything down. So it turned into we really had a lot of momentum, and it came into the time when it was like, okay, so we're gonna have kind of a vacation here and then come back, and then it didn't do what we needed it to do. But yeah, that's okay. We're gonna get scheduled in for the next year. I'm ordering parts. My car is going up for some work, getting some tires. My other car's getting fuel filters and junk like that. So everybody out there, this is a great time to start some kind of project or something. So don't forget that we're going to be having this Wednesday is going to be another version of Carside Chat. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to be discussing what the future is going to hold for us, because some changes did happen and we do want to discuss it. I just don't want to discuss it right now with the channel. I want to have everybody around and kind of discuss what we, as a group, where we want to move forward. So yeah, don't forget to tune in that Wednesday. That means like and subscribe, hit that button, hit the bell, do everything. Remember that we're not only here, but we're also on Spotify. And I'm trying to figure out the whole system to work that, so we can add some music and do something a little bit different on maybe the podcast side of it versus kind of the YouTube side, which is live. Give you guys something different for each kind of platform or whatnot, and make it specific. So it really comes down to the point of having the time to do this and putting everything together. It was really nice when I had a team, and now that we're rebuilding the team and putting everything back the way we need it to, things are going to change. But just dial into us, and I hope you guys enjoy what we're going to be coming down the line here. So today in the news, and I'm going to give, it's just kind of a commentary thing about, we're going to do some opinionated pieces in here too, just to get an idea of what's going on right now, because there's a lot of stuff that's kind of traumatic in the industry, but it hasn't been really showing its traumatic side, which I think is really weird. The chip shortage that we have has been ongoing right now, as everybody probably is aware. Most of the times there's two big companies that do the chips that are involved in this kind of automotive thing, which is Robert Bosch and Continental. And that's the thing is what these automotive brands are learning now is they understand that these guys just really get their stuff from other places. So what automakers are trying to figure out right now, because they want to get around the shortage, is they want to go to the source. And that's the thing is, a lot of people are putting kind of a damper on that and saying that is a bad idea. So VW itself is looking to make strategic partnerships with some of these brands to basically get stuff direct to them so that they don't have to wait. Others are recommending to invest in this production side of it. In other words, instead of VW going in and trying to partnership stuff or do something that way, to put some sort of investment in and say, hey, maybe open your own brand or open your own thing. This is a very in-depth conversation, and I hate to do it when it becomes something that becomes very topical for us, because we just kind of tell you this kind of news side of it and give you kind of the skim over it. And there's a lot more to this that goes on, not just the idea of being able to do this chip thing, but what goes into making a chip, where you have to go to make a chip. there's a lot of this that is involved in it, and I think a lot of people do see it as topical. And I mean, there's no reason people wouldn't want to see it that way about looking something and saying we want action. And the reason is because there's like a million vehicles that are just sitting idle waiting for these chips, and nothing's happening. So the thing that I kind of say is don't just look at this from the news that we're giving out or things of that nature. I want you to understand how chips are made, and that's really not something that we want to get into. I don't want to take you to a chip factory or anything like that. There's a lot of videos out there that you can check out to show you how they build chips, what is going on with the supply chain stuff, and why it's going in, and why it's important to understand how the stuff is being produced. And I think it'll give you a much better idea of how this system is not working the way they need to, and why it continues to be a problem, and why these guys are looking into options. And I can't blame them for making these options or looking into them, but the problem is that if they end up going these other routes, is it going to make the problem worse, or is it going to make the problem better? It might end up making the problem better for just that group, and that doesn't really help everybody, because we have a huge problem overall when it comes to making vehicles right now, and it revolves specifically around the chip thing. So that's the thing is I think that the people out there that are kind of pushing against this and saying, don't be the person that's going to be trying to convolute the system or go around or backdoor it. Be the person that goes, hey, let's invest in something so that we can make a better system in the future so that this doesn't happen, and then we fix the problem that we currently have. And I have to say, I personally feel that the latter is kind of a better route. But like I said, this is not an easy system to kind of put out there. It's not an easy system there's a lot of moving parts that go into this chip thing. But just to know that there is no current end in sight, and that's the unfortunate lesson that we're going to be taking away from this. So what is clear right now is that dealerships are looking to open. They're looking to expand. Right now it is a buyer's market, and even with the supply being as low it is, the market, it's going up. And the thing is, it's weird because people are owning their cars 12 years now, but still the profits are going up. 2021 looks to be a record-breaking year for profits in comparison to the year before. So apparently the problem that manufacturers are suffering is not something that's happening to the dealerships that are out there. Us personally, we've seen at least 2 to 3 exotic luxury vehicle dealerships open in the last couple of weeks. And I just think that's really, it's crazy thinking about that. Like before, you couldn't get stuff to open, and now we're getting into the point of people who normally would not sell exotic cars or are trying to get in on this thing. People who normally wouldn't sell hot rods or older cars like that looking to get into it. Most of the times it was really, dealerships didn't want to touch stuff old. They wanted to touch stuff kind of fresh. They didn't want to go down the rabbit hole of some of these collector cars that would go into it. And a lot of people now they just see the money that's into it. And I think that is the real truth here. People are holding their cars on older, but I think that with things going the way they're going, people see that the loved cars that they have are going to be mothballed. I've seen my car, at least one of them, has gone up in value thousands of dollars over year. And with this current buyer market, people are offering me $5,000 and $6,000 more for a car that I'm like, what's going on? So the thing is when you start seeing this stuff, it's just going to happen. People are going to jump in it. They're going to get involved in it. They're going to open dealerships, and they're going to open chains that, trying to capitalize on it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's the opportunity for you as a buyer to kind of look and see what's out there that's available. That's the other unfortunate part about this. The price is going up. A lot of people say, buy when it's low and sell when it's high. Well, if you own something before, then here's your opportunity to sell it when it's high, and maybe have access to something that you've never had before. I don't know if this will have a downturn anytime soon. It may not. I know that may seem weird, but we're in a really weird time that, these prices this might be the low period. It might just be going up from here, especially if the cars that you love. I just read today that the Cayman, the next version of the Cayman will actually be a hybrid. Assuming hybrid, but electric. So that's the thing is these cars that we coveted and loved so much effectively are being mothballed. So That's something we have to think about and see where that goes down the road. Maybe people will be owning their cars 24 years instead of just 12. But let's see how that goes. The good news, this is something everybody tells me. Lexus has been a very boring brand, and I don't get it. I have seen Lexus, and I am very excited about Lexus. They were top in luxury for quality and top 3 overall for quality. And that is just something that, Lexus has been able to take home over and over again. They have been one of the best brands that has actually been able to, number one, be quality, stay out of repair shops to get the work done. But secondly, be able to hold their value. And over time, a lot of people that I've been instructed in says, hey, how would you invest your money? And they said, put it here, do stuff with real estate, invest this way. But what kind of car? Hey, pick up a Lexus, an older Lexus, if you will, and drive it until the end of the world. And if you plan on trading it in, the value's you're not going to lose too much on the value or take too much of a hit. And that's something that really Lexus has done. Now, in some of the cars in the past, Lexus has been very numb. I understand that, and I think that's a viable complaint. I'm not saying that I agree with it 100%. A lot of the cars that I've driven, I really liked how they were. I think there were, I live off of a lot of aftermarket, so I don't see a car of what I can see. I see what I can do to a car, which is something where Lexus has really excelled at. But they've had a really interesting luxury genre that has kind of defined their area in the genre, and I think it goes to why they're so successful and so good in their buyback or their overall value. But it doesn't shock me at all for them to be again one of the most. I think they was voted most liked brand. So that's huge news, especially for a luxury brand. How many brands out there that I'm an old BMW and Mercedes guy, and I'm telling you, I love my brand, but I love to hate it too. So, if you as long as I can stay out of the repair shop, I'm good. So, lastly, what I want to say is the Porsche is creating a boutique showroom studio. This is something that just came out today. I really like the sound of it. They already have an Asia and a Europe version, but they're going to put another one in Portland, Oregon. And I'm going to read the wording. So the CEO, Kjell Kroner, made to build relationships over selling cars. So they don't want sale pressure. They're going to put classes and workshops. And it's really great. I think this is not something that's new. I hate to say that to them. I hope that people don't think this is like the new concept out there, but this is something that I think is really good. I think we really I like the idea of taking these dealerships and making them areas that are not just sales areas, but they're areas that you go to kind of experience a brand. I don't think that's something that every brand can do. I don't think Toyota can do it. I definitely don't think Honda can do it. I just, having worked in all these different brands, I'm not sure if like Infiniti could do it. I know that Lexus could do it. That Lexus could definitely make some sort of, boutique style studio thing where you sit in and you enjoy the product and you kind of look at some of the history. But brands like Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini, these brands have immense history, and Porsche is really, I think, going in the right way. They're trying to focus on some of their older vehicles, doing the support. Like I said, with my 944, that's one of those cars that, how do you find 86? How do you find parts? And it was a long time ago, it was very difficult. Now it's 2-3 days wait, and I'm getting parts. And that is pretty impressive. Like, I like that. I want to see that more with brands like Ferrari. Ferrari I don't think they do very well with that. A lot of the stuff with their older vehicles, they have a lot more, I guess, if you will, time frame that a lot of people work more on the old Ferraris. And that's the thing is with those, there become problems where people have to fabricate or build parts or do something different. I'd like to see Ferrari do that, have that experience. But Lambo has already done it. They did it in Manhattan. They have the Lamborghini Lounge, and that's something that you don't go in to buy a car. You can configure a car, you can put stuff together, but you sit down. They have an Italian chef. They go over the history of cars. They even have like a little sit-down driving system that you can drive the cars in. I think that is amazing. So there has been a lot of pushback on this thing with Porsche from dealers that says, with EVs coming in, they're not repair oriented. So repair shops are going to be, I think we're moving towards kind of that famine area when it comes to that. And they believe that this could push for further failure. And I really don't feel that that is kind of the way it could be. Now, could you do this wrong? Could you kind of just put it out there and put some pictures up and some cars in a corner and then kind of not have that feel that you need to? Absolutely. To do this right, you're going to have something like putting a chef or food, or not just the little instant coffee thing over there. Have somebody that's actually a coffee person that's making coffee in the back. Have events. So the big thing that we kept saying is having these tech days, or having performance or upkeep days. So tell people how to wash their car. Show them how to do all the stuff that usually, most of these dealerships, you don't handle this stuff. So it's no big deal to look at somebody and go, hey, one big thing, for instance, for the Lamborghini, here's people who own e-gear. There was a long time, especially with the Murcielagos in its early days and the early Gallardos, that I really looked at people and I said, you don't want to drive this car like this. You're going to burn the clutch out. And I don't think they got it. It was something that was hard to get a hold of because it wasn't like any other. It wasn't a traditional automatic where you could drive it that way. It was a manual transmission that was electronically controlled, and it was something that people needed to learn. Now, that's something that you're not going to go over in the delivery process. We never went over it in the delivery process. Like, you press the gas and you hit the flipper and you're good to go. But that's the thing is it's something that somebody would say, hey, I want to make this thing last longer. That's where your Porsche, hey, you have an older Porsche. There's a huge community of guys out there that support this old world, that they have a newer Porsche that they drive 300,000 miles. I've seen these cars, 320, even more, I'm sure, is out there, that they want to upkeep these cars, and they want to have the one car that they daily, and then the one car that they take to the track, or this is their old collector car. Like I have my 86. These guys I would love to have a thing where we go up and we say, hey, today we're going to go over this car and show you things that you can upkeep that you won't want to bring to the dealership. And there are points that you build those relationships, and I think it makes it stronger overall if you have that connection. But like I said, it can't be something where I just go in and see, a couple little things here and there. I want to go in and have an experience. And the reason is because dealerships are pressure oriented. They are extreme pressure. A lot of you guys out there, and please put it in the comments below. Tell me how much pressure you feel when you go to a dealership. I'm sure it's a lot. You feel there's going to be somebody that's going to come over. It's going to ask you to, hey, would you like to value your trade-in and look towards something new? And let me show you how to do this. And it's all about sales and this kind of thing. And people even go into service. People have stayed away from it because they see a bill coming and they don't see that value. So that's the thing is the way to take that and push it into other areas is to making an environment where people want to come to your dealership to experience something, have that museum feel, have that kind of quality of, here's an old Porsche. This is, here's a different brand. Here's something that's, that we haven't had in a while. Like you said, putting the 944 out there, putting an old, 911 or something like that people can experience and say, wow, that was what the cars were like. Look at the comparison of my car versus this car. How did these cars come about? TVs, sharing information, share the news, put us on your little channel out there and have us talk to these people that are coming in and saying, hey, we're going to sit down and we're going to have, a little bit of food, listen to some radio, some music on the TV here, and listen to some people talking, whatever brand you're in, if it's Porsche, Lamborghini, Ferrari, whatever it is, and have that conversation of where we're talking about the brands, talking about their values, even talking about the people that sell the cars themselves. Like, let's be introduced to something but make sure it's interesting. Make sure it's something where I'm getting into it and I'm not feeling like a hand on my shoulder patting on me going like, hey, I know you like the video, but would you like to buy a car? And that's the thing is if people feel comfortable and they're coming in, I'm telling you, I know people are going to argue with me about this, but if you have your people coming in on a regular basis and you have your customers walk in the door and they continue to see the new stuff that's coming in, you can't expect them to not go, hey, let's have a test drive. My car does feel a little bit long in the tooth. Maybe I'd think about something new. And if the thing is if the stuff is in there for them to be excited about it and jump in, you'd be amazed at how many of these buyers, especially friends of mine, have not traded in a car, but said, you know what, I'm going to add my third or fourth to my collection. So you'd be amazed at where it goes, but you got to treat it right. If you don't treat it right, it's not going to treat you back. And the people who are the detractors from this will end up being right just because, it wasn't handled right, not because it wasn't done right or that it was a bad idea. So thank you guys for tuning in today. I hope you like that. A little bit of automotive news, a little bit of opinionation in there too. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to input from you guys about what you want to hear, what the stuff that we said today. What do you feel about this new system that's coming out, this new world that we have? Will people be holding on to their cars longer and longer and longer? Or will there come a point where dealerships really are choking so badly that they have to redefine how they are as dealerships? And I really think that day is coming, and the real question is how soon, and if it will ever, or how it will ever. We don't know what that future is going to hold because, I'm pretty sure nobody can read the future quite yet. But if you can, put it in the comments. Thank you guys. Check out these other videos. Check out more coming from the Automotive News. We're great to see you again, and we're going to be back coming again this Wednesday. Talk to you then. Have a great day, and see you soon.